Welcome back to the British Accent Podcast, where we speak to your real life, your real emotions, and your real journey with English. I'm Emily, and today's episode is not just about learning English, it's about learning to live with a little more peace. We're diving into something you've probably felt before, maybe even today, the fear of missing out. That anxious feeling that everyone else is ahead of you, everyone else is doing more, seeing more, achieving more, and you're falling behind. Whether it's on social media, in conversations with friends, or in your own thoughts when you see someone else's perfect English, it can feel like you're the only one not moving forward. But what if that fear could be turned into something gentler? What if missing out didn't mean losing, but instead meant gaining peace?
Hey everyone, I'm Nick. And yeah, let's be honest, FOMO, or the fear of missing out, is something almost all of us deal with at some point. You scroll through Instagram and see someone speaking English fluently in a video, or sharing their certificate from an online course they finished, or even just posting a long caption in perfect grammar. And suddenly, your mind goes, why am I not doing that? Am I falling behind? You feel like you should be doing more, studying harder, practicing longer. But here's the thing, the pressure to keep up often distracts you from what actually matters. You're no longer learning for you, you're learning to chase an invisible standard that may not even make sense for your life.
Exactly. And that's where the piece of missing out comes in. It's not about giving up or lowering your goals. It's about choosing intentionally what deserves your energy. Maybe right now, you're taking care of a family member. Maybe your job is intense. Maybe your brain just needs a break. That's not laziness, that's life. And when you choose to miss out on the constant chase, you give yourself the chance to actually feel calm. Peace isn't the absence of ambition, it's the presence of alignment. Choosing what's right for you in this moment.
And that applies so much to English learning. Maybe you're not joining every speaking club or finishing 3 grammar units a week. Maybe your progress feels slower. But what if slow is okay? What if slow means steady, sustainable, and real? You don't have to show your progress to the world to prove it's happening. You don't have to be in 10 different English communities to be a valid learner. You just have to be present with your process, whatever that looks like.
Sometimes peace looks like reading one English article while sipping your tea, instead of watching 5 YouTube videos you can't concentrate on. Sometimes peace is saying, no, I won't compare myself today, and focusing on the single phrase you learned and actually remembered. And yes, sometimes peace is missing out on what everyone else is doing, so you can focus on what you need.
So as we keep talking today, think about this, what do you actually want your English learning journey to feel like? Constant pressure? Or calm growth? There's no right answer. But there is your answer. And it might just come from the peace of missing out.
And maybe today, you just needed to hear that. That it's okay not to be in every English group chat, not to follow every English teacher online, not to listen to every podcast episode the moment it drops. It's okay to choose fewer things, and let those few things have more meaning. You can let go of the guilt that creeps in when you rest. Because rest doesn't mean you're going backward. It's part of how you keep going.
It's funny how we've been taught that more is always better. More content, more lessons, more interaction. But sometimes, less is what gives your brain space to breathe, and your heart space to feel proud. If all you did today was watch one scene from a movie and repeat one English phrase, then that's still something. If all you could manage was listening to this podcast while cooking dinner, that counts. You're learning, just in a quieter, more human way.
And I want to say this especially for the learners who are juggling so much right now. Who are raising kids, working shifts, managing health, holding things together in ways no one else sees. Your English learning might look small on the outside, but inside, it's being built with courage. You are not missing out on success. You are creating it, slowly and steadily, in your own lane. And that is beautiful.
So if you feel overwhelmed, try this. Step back. Close some of those learning tabs. Mute some of the noise. And ask yourself, what would feel gentle today? Maybe it's revisiting one sentence you already know, but saying it out loud with more confidence. Maybe it's putting on English music and letting yourself just enjoy it without turning it into a study session. That's not giving up. That's connecting. That's learning in real life.
You're not behind. You're not missing anything essential. You're building something lasting, and sometimes, it's in the quiet, overlooked moments that the most powerful learning happens. Let that be enough for today. Let you be enough for today.
And you know, sometimes the best kind of learning isn't the loud, obvious kind. It's not the kind you post about or write down in a notebook. It's the kind that settles in while you're doing the dishes, or walking to work, or lying in bed thinking about a word you heard earlier that day. It's invisible progress, but it's still real. You're letting the language sink into your life, not forcing it to fit like a tight schedule. That's how it becomes part of who you are, not just something you study.
Right? And the more we accept that, the less pressure we put on ourselves to constantly prove our growth to others. We can start focusing on what actually matters, how we feel about our learning, how connected we are to it, how much it supports us instead of draining us. FOMO, the fear of missing out, tells us we're never doing enough. But the peace of missing out tells us we're doing what we need. And that is a powerful shift.
It is. Because what if you don't need to be in every class, or finish every course, or speak perfectly right now? What if you just need to stay with it in a way that feels good, honest, and true to your life? That kind of peace, it's not lazy. It's wise. And it makes your English learning sustainable. Not a race you burn out from, but a path you actually enjoy walking, one slow, peaceful step at a time.
And when you allow yourself to walk that path slowly, with calm and trust, you start to notice things you might have missed before. The texture of a phrase. The rhythm of a native speaker's voice. The emotion hidden inside everyday words. It's like your senses open up, and your connection to English becomes something more than just language. It becomes an experience. And you didn't have to rush or hustle to get there. You just had to stay. To keep showing up in your own quiet, imperfect way.
Yeah, and isn't that beautiful? Learning that doesn't demand noise or competition. Growth that doesn't need to be dramatic or flashy. English becomes a companion, not a task. And little by little, those peaceful moments, where you choose understanding over urgency, stack up into something powerful. You realize you haven't missed out at all. You've just been building something real, something lasting, in a way that honors your own life and pace.
And when you realize that, you stop measuring your progress with someone else's ruler. You stop worrying about where others are, or how fast they are moving. You start listening more to yourself, to your energy, your capacity, your needs. You begin to trust that your relationship with English is still growing even when no one can see it. You find joy in a single sentence that makes sense today, in recognizing one word from a movie, in replying to a message without using a translator. These small, private victories become sacred moments of clarity, and they're enough.
They really are. Because peace comes when you understand that your journey doesn't need to look like anyone else's. It only needs to feel right for you. There's no race. No finish line. Just this ongoing dance between effort and ease. Between showing up and knowing when to rest. Between learning and being. And sometimes the best thing you can do for your growth is to slow down, breathe, and let go of the pressure to perform. Because you're not behind, you're just on a different kind of path. One that still leads forward.
And when you finally start to notice how those quiet moments, those peaceful pauses where you're not racing or pushing, actually help your mind stay open, that's when everything changes. You realize your learning doesn't need to be loud or flashy. It can be soft, subtle, invisible to the outside world, but incredibly powerful on the inside. Maybe today you just listened. Maybe you didn't speak much, but you understood more than yesterday. Maybe you read one sentence and felt something click. That's not nothing, that's real progress.
It's the kind of progress that lasts, too. Because you're not just cramming information, you're actually letting the language live with you. Settle in. Become part of your everyday rhythm. You're learning to hold space for it without needing to force it. That's the peace we're talking about. The peace that comes when you let go of the fear of missing out, and instead, step fully into the moment you're already in.
And maybe that's the greatest gift of all, not just becoming fluent in English, but becoming fluent in your own life. Letting go of pressure, of comparison, of chasing what everyone else is doing, and finally realizing that your journey can be enough, just as it is. You're not falling behind. You're not missing out. You're exactly where you need to be, growing in your own time, in your own way.
So the next time you feel that rush to do more, be more, know more, pause. Breathe. And remember, peace is not the absence of ambition. It's the presence of trust. Trust in yourself, in your pace, and in your quiet strength. You're not just learning English, you're learning to live more gently. And that's something truly powerful. Thanks for joining us today. We'll talk to you again soon.